Saints make your job easy.
Wasn't the most attractive spectacle viewed under the lights of Marvel Stadium, but the visitors will take the 4 points over a resilient St Kilda side with some Friday night footy against the Demons to come. Welcome everyone to this week's instalment of Eagle Review, proudly brought to you by Kennards Hire.
Love Kennards Hire.
How could you not? Visit them online, kennards.com.au, or visit a nearby branch. Now, Ben Roberts by my side again. The coaches and players will like the look of a lot of these stats.
Yep.
Let's take a little peruse. 1 clearances and 13 times we were able to score from it. St Kilda 6, 1 the inside 50s, 1 the disposal and tackle efficiency, the tackle count in fact. How's this for a stat? Since 2016, West Coast have lost the tackle count by an average of 16 to the Saints. That's the biggest differential of any sides out there over that period. Yet, despite those victories in the stats columns, it looked to be an arm wrestle for the majority of the contest.
Yeah, St Kilda certainly brought the heat. They love doing that pressure, numbers, tackling. That's probably why there's that discrepancy in the numbers when we play them. They've got a very distinct brand, as Simo said leading into the game last week. And as he said after the game, you've got to be at your very best to break that down, even though you know what you're doing. And probably until JK right at the end of that third quarter hadn't been his day, had been quiet by his lofty standards.
Well held.
But you know what correct. And you know what they say, it might not be your day, but it might be your moment. And the end of the third quarter, how good was that mark?
I loved it, mate. He had to kind of sidestep Darling, even though he wanted that side of the contest, and the mitts to be pushed in the contest as well.
Falling on a hard deck too as well.
Loved it.
Great mark, but him kicking a couple and then just pulling away, just a little buffer at three-quarter time. Saints were plucky. 1 goal ain't in the last didn't help the scoreboard, but the Saints stuck at it for the whole game, even though right until the end, until Darling kicked that, probably the sealer. They were right in until the end, and credit to them. But 4 points, and we'll take it.
Will Schofield seemed to sustain a bit of a rib injury, tried to take out Blake Acres. That backfired a touch, but we'll have to wait till Tuesday's St John of God medical report to be released to find out if there is a bit of damage there, Ben Roberts. Yep. But with Tommy Barras out, you don't want to be losing key members in this particular area on the ground.
No, you do not. You do not, because key defenders do not grow on trees. Although there's a couple of young bucks that come through. Can I just touch on quickly on?
So they do grow on trees then?
Well, we've got the right recipe down here, and there's a few growing, some green shoots for us. Joshy Rotham and Harry Edwards, can I just say, travelled over. Might not mean too much, but it's just going to give them some experience of travelling and being what happens in an away trip, because you never know. Well, Roth's already played. You never know. Harry might be a sniff down the track. You just don't know. What about McGovern?
You reckon he's safe as houses, Benny?
I think...
this is going to come out, obviously, after the results are pending at the moment.
So, why are we even discussing it?
That's a fair point.
Fines, I reckon. Maybe. I mean, if anything, fines. Long way off the ball might hurt him a little bit, but no real damage done in the end, so we'll see. But as you say, you don't want to lose too many more, because we've got some good ones out.
Correct. Some solid contributors all across the ground on Saturday night. Gaff 30 disposals, actually averages 28 against the Saints. That's the second highest of any side in his little rankings there. She's Shuey Yo, 20 clearances between them. They looked hot.
They did. Did you catch some of these red hot clearances, Shuey and Sheed over the back of the head, Harlem Globetrotter style?
Classy.
Over the back.
What about Sheed's second quarter? 14 disposals, 6 contested, 3 clearances and a goal. That is on fire, Ben.
Yeah, the last couple of weeks he's been dynamic and he's had an effect on the contest, I'll say. He's been very good, and that quarter in particular, wowee.
The defence held strong. If you can keep Saints to 10 goals under the roof, perfect conditions.
Fast deck.
I think you tip your cap to them there as well.
Yeah, and the thing about the defence, the West Coast Eagles defence, very, very cohesive unit. Have been playing together, like the core of it has been playing together for a long time now.
It's true. It's not like the forward line where it's just young pups left, right, centre.
So they've been working, they know who goes where, what the running patterns, they know just how everyone works, all that sort of thing. And very experienced, as you say, so very good to see them. Talking about the forwards, Stephen, what about Liam Ryan's game?
Thought that was his best for the club, to be honest, Benny.
Very well-rounded game from Liam. I thought, not just taking a couple of hangs, not just kicking a couple of goals, did a few different things, a lot of tackling, a lot of chasing, which is something that Simo touched on after the game. Yeah,
he did. He said, arrived at the club, wasn't in his strong suit, now one of the best workers all time. If you have a look at this mark in the first quarter, have a look where Liam Ryan starts. He gets the disposal on the goal front, essentially, and then has to run 50 metres. And for him to get that elevation, Benny, to still have room in the tank. I know it's the first quarter, but that kind of running is so prevalent in his game. I loved how he could just jump over blokes in the marking contest as well. Yeah. Looking for the hang, and his opponent's like, I'm not getting in the way of that. How'd you get? But if we are going to touch on the mercurial, Benny, some of these Saints goals are pretty ridiculous when you have a look at them.
Well, they kicked a couple of good ones, but the two best ones by far. Billings late in the piece, kicking this one, if you don't mind. What about Savage's goal?
That's got to be goal of the week.
The fall away, right foot banana through from nowhere from the third row. That's goal of the week stuff. I don't think it's not as good as Eddie's one from the other week. It's not going to.
No, but credit where credit's due. I couldn't believe he kicked it.
It's a cracker.
Unreal. Time for our Kennards roast of the round. Let's get stuck straight into it. The entire Saints team, how about you do a bit of homework? Because Lewis Jetta from fullback is doing all sorts of beautiful things. This one to Waterman, no exception, added to the collection. In comparison, Seb Ross, that's one of the worst disposals of your career. Liam Ryan, what's happening here, mate? Just getting on the bus a little early?
He's very keen to get into the Netflix on the way home. Just very keen. He's got to binge watch. He's got to finish off the latest series. Oh boy. And runs back. The little dash. I wish I could have seen his face when he realised.
He wasn't the only one that got on the bus, but he was certainly the last to get off by a considerable margin.
Remember, talking about kicking earlier, this is one of the worst, and with options too.
Oh, too many options.
Must be said, probably too many options. Yeah. That's right. The shepherd from the umpire, always like a bit of help our way from the umps, and probably set up the Petchy goal.
Correct. What about the Hearn little, got the boot on it here. Obviously not a lot of crowd members looking at whose boot it actually was. Have a look at some of the carry-on from the Saints supporters.
Carry-on is the best way to
when
describe
they got the decision right too, that's shocking. McGovern, under a ton of pressure here, to be fair, so I don't know what else he could have done, so sent that directly out of play.
Disposals have been a theme this week. Vardy, this worm burner, stay in your ruckman, don't try and lace them like Lewis Jetta, just do what you got to do, kick it long from congestion. This soccer attempt from Dom Sheed, a comedy of errors here. Sheed, soccer attempt, no good. Steele gets it. Shank, just miss, like it. Venables?
Venables in a bit of trouble. I think he's still looking for his plums out on the field.
A shot in the pills will always make it to review, because it's always, when it's not you and you know he's okay after, it's always humorous. So
and getting hit by football. Yeah, enjoyed it. Venables. Let's go around the grounds. Reed, how about this one? Just having his hip sanded. Obviously copped a couple of knocks out there. That'll buff right out. Well done, Benny. Tom Phillips, back-to-back 50-metre penalties. That's a rarity, especially when one goal gives up your lead in the fourth quarter. Don't worry, your mates will bail you out in the fourth, though, Tommy.
I picked up something that most of the media in Australia have missed, and it seems to have gone under the radar a little bit. Dane Rampy.
Oh, Donkey Kong up there.
Yeah, so your brother's an umpire. Your thoughts?
That's a free kick, and you'd imagine that. Imagine explaining to your teammates how you've just cost your team,
Is it though?
The game.
Because it says if you shake the post, he's obviously consequentially shaking the post, but he's not going to shake the post.
Are you happy with him just chilling up there halfway up the post?
Well, the rules don't say anything about that.
Do you think the rules should be brought in? I don't think you can stand. What, he's going to swat them like bloody Rampage, the dinosaurs at the top of the building, swat balls from halfway out the post.
King Kong swatting at the plane.
That's just silly.
I know you can't. I agree, you can't do it. Yeah, put it in the rules, and they won't do it. Ben Brown, have a stinker. Like he brought him back into it in the third quarter with goals. Thought North for a sniff, but if they're going to dish that sort of play up late in the piece when they need to come back, that's going to be roasted every day of the week.
But the roast of the round, though, Benny, never in doubt, really. No. I brought me boots and socks to the game. I thought we were going to be 6 players short because we had a bit of a lift incident in Melbourne. Some boys getting stuck. Now, a lot of players thinking, gee, the poor boys, how do they cope? Oh, very unfortunate with technology these days and, lift maintenance. No. Have a listen to how they've done it.
So myself, Andrew Gaff, Jack Darling, Liam Ryan and Elliot Yo were coming back from breakfast, and we're actually humming an In Excess song, and you had to get the beat right, so it was 3-1-3-4. Can't actually remember what the song was, and we went around and I actually messed it up, and everyone started jumping up and down the lift, and all of a sudden a huge creak, and it just stopped. So there was definitely some nervous moments. We eventually got through to the communications line, and they said an electrician or the mechanic was going to come in. So it took us about 45 minutes to get out in the end. So we ended up just sitting down, listening to music, playing some cards. Luckily, we just been for brekkie and had some cards with us. But yeah, it's a pretty scary situation.
First of all, get to know your classic Aussie rock. Does not get much more classic than In Excess, one of the greats.
Agreed.
B, don't jump in a lift. Stupidity, roast around.